Is everybody getting settled? Seems like we have a little, we're set up front. It's unlike church where usually it's, the last one's in, but okay. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Fall is upon us as it's chilly. I see everybody wearing their sweaters and staying warm. So again, welcome. Very excited. We have a pretty full agenda today. So with some of the same cast of characters that you've seen previously, but also have the exciting opportunity to introduce a brand new cast member in this regard, and we'll save that towards the end. But before I start, by a quick show of hands, is this anybody's first State of the Castle? Mr. Woodard. Everybody knows Mr. Woodard. He and Mrs. Have joined us as recently as 3 or 4 weeks ago. Has it been that much fun already? All right. Well, welcome. So, without further ado, we will have Mike Brever, who needs little to no introduction, but I'm sure will share enough with us all as we get going. So, Mike, kick us off.
Thank you, Tyler. Actually, I am not speaking on behalf of myself today. I'm speaking on behalf of Barb right there because she hasn't had an opportunity to prepare a report. So I've got it here for you. I'm here speaking on the Employee Appreciation Fund. Let me preface those comments by saying or explaining what it is. You all know that there is a guideline at East Castle Place that says employees are not allowed to accept gratuities from you for services that they provide during the course of the year. That includes your wait staff in the dining room, people that come and clean your apartments, maintenance men that might come and repair something that is broken in your apartment. None of those individuals are allowed to accept gratuities during the course of the year. In lieu of that, you and your neighbors have a history once a year of taking up a collection called the Employee Appreciation Fund. That collection provides a bonus, if you will, a tip to the hourly employees at East Castle Place who've provided this valuable service to you during the course of the year and made your lives here, hopefully, at East Castle Place a little bit better. I hasten to add that employees like Tyler or myself or any of the individuals who will be speaking today do not benefit from this collection that you take up. It is the hourly employees that provide a direct service to you that do benefit from your generosity. You know that we kicked off this campaign about a month ago. Barb Hill is your representative from the resident council who's coordinating the campaign this year. This is her second year in doing so. Just to bring you up to date a little bit, thus far, with the Employee Appreciation Fund, we have collected $27,212 thus far. That's an extremely impressive amount given where we've been at this time in past years. In fact, at the end of October, on October 31st, we had the most that we had ever collected as of that date. So on behalf of all the employees who will benefit from that, my thanks to you. You are extremely generous and we are all grateful. On the other hand, you all know that there are fewer residents this year to contribute than there have been in past years. Last year, we had 93 donors who contributed to the fund. This year, we have had 33 donors contribute to the fund. Those 33 donors comprise 44% of the total eligible donors because we have fewer occupied units this year. We also have a multitude of people that have moved in recently. And so we're very, very hopeful for a good campaign, but we have a challenge in front of us. And I'd like to thank all of you on behalf of those. For those of you who have not had an opportunity to contribute yet, there is a blue box on the reception desk. at the front. The words Employee Appreciation Fund are taped to the blue box. There's a slot at the top. You can put a check in there. You can put cash in there. I process the proceeds from that box every day, and I give them to Sean. For those of you that are new to East Castle Place, and for those of you who've been here for more than a year, let me remind you, contributions to the Employee Appreciation Fund are tax deductible, and you receive a letter from me after the end of the year that you can use for your income tax purposes. So keep that in mind. Are there any questions I can answer for anybody? Yes, Katie.
If you've given monthly, do you get a statement now to know exactly how much that was, in case you want to give more than that? If you give monthly.
If I do have the records of people that have given monthly, and if you would like to know what your current total is, I can share that with you. There were 9 individuals who gave monthly, which is the most we've ever had, and it got us off to a good start. So if you'd like a status report, I'd be happy to provide that to you.
In case I would want to give more, then.
Yes. Yes. I can give you an interim report now, and then you can make your own decision. It is a free will offering, so it's your
Because
decision.
I don't think they take off for November and December, because
That is correct. It is a 10-month collection. It begins with January 1st, and it ends with October 1st.
So I'd appreciate the statement.
I will be happy to provide that. Any other questions I can answer? Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I've been here so long. When people come in, are they alerted while they're being oriented that happens, so that they're prepared financially?
I am not certain of what happens at an orientation that's conducted by Anna and her staff, but I can tell you that directors meet with new residents within the first 4 to 6 weeks of their moving in, and that's one of the topics that I cover with new residents. So they are all informed. I should also tell you that a payday here at East Castle Place this year happens to be December 24th, Christmas Eve. That is much too late for our employees to receive a bonus that they might want to be able to take advantage of for Christmas. So we're backing up to the payday before then, which is December 10th. Funds will be distributed December 10th. That means for people to be able to participate in this year's Employee Appreciation Fund, you have to have your commitment in December 1st. December 1st is Wednesday, the week before the final payday. We have to do that because the method of determining the split between the hourly employees, I mean, believe me, Sean and Brad, and I know Jen works on this as well. It takes them a long time. They split employees up into 4 shares, and full-time that worked half a year get 2, and full-time that worked a full year get 4, and part-time, it goes on and on. It takes a while. So December 1st is the cutoff so that they know. Now, those of you who missed the deadline, what happens to your money? The Employee Appreciation Fund is an annual collection. It does not, it is retained in the Employee Appreciation Fund for next year then. So it stays with the employees, it's dedicated to that. So December 1st is the deadline. Any other questions? Yes?
Two things. I think we sort of established some guidelines for how much a week or how much a month. And also, how much did we raise last year?
Last year, we raised $71,639, which was the most we've ever raised. And again, we're very grateful. That resulted in each employee that received a full 4 shares, a full-time, full year employee received a little bit over $600 as a bonus. And I'm sorry, the other half of your question was?
Oh, we sort of talked about guidelines for giving.
It was suggested, remember, it's a free will offering, but it was suggested as $10 a week for each person living in a unit. So if, I think The theory is, if you were to go out to a restaurant once a week, you know, how much of a tip would you provide the waiter or something like that? But a suggested guideline was $10 a week per person. Any other questions? Yes.
If you pay monthly, do you have to reapply each year?
You do. There are contracts that you have to sign with Brad, and he has to have that contract on file before he can automatically bill you on a monthly basis. Now, I receive copies of those contracts, and that's why in response to Katie's question, I can tell you how much has been donated by a monthly giver as of today. But yes, you need to sign new contracts every year.
And when are they available?
Well, they'll be available in December so that it can begin with the first payment in January. I also point out to you, although this isn't a timely comment, some of your neighbors started on July 1st, and they gave 5 payments. You know, with a monthly payment, you can break it up any way you want. Any other questions? All right, the next person, I think will be arriving shortly. Do I go to Eric?
I'll actually take
All right. Standing in for Lindsay V. Goot, Tyler Gudex.
Thank you, Mike. Of course, I am not Lindsay Bigut. Lindsay is actually, we had the opportunity to invite a member from the state of Wisconsin. She's an infection preventionist. To walk with our infection preventionist, Roxanne Farr, as well as Lindsay and our director of nursing, Ashley Drummond, to really walk the community, to see what we're doing well, how we're doing as a community from a COVID standpoint, as well as just general infection prevention. And so again, it's a really neat opportunity that I applaud Lindsay and Ashley and Roxanne for taking, because again, it's improving our processes. It's making sure we are, you know, in a good place. And again, I had the opportunity to have lunch with them just before this, and she said, Amy is her name, she said, you have one of the most solid teams that I've come in contact with. And I say that because I've been in communities where there's been 3 different DONs or 3 different administrators within the last year. And it's really tough to sustain solid processes. And she says when she goes into a community, we're at north of 90% fully vaccinated. And by tomorrow we'll be at 100% fully vaccinated staff. She says most communities, if they're lucky, are at 30% vaccinated. And so again, I think that's a credit to, again, Lindsay and the director team and our staff that work alongside each other to take that other opportunity for protection for themselves, for you, for each other. And again, I also appreciate the board support in what we do from a requirement standpoint. And I won't go into the details, but know that that number does not come easy. There is a whole team of individuals that are tracking over 200 employees from the various vaccination status. And so again, a huge credit to Lindsay and Jen and the director team for what they've done to accomplish a pretty good feat, pretty strong feat. And so again, that's where Lindsay is, long story short. So, the question that she had, that I've also had, I know Teresa Jenkins has also helped answer, is can you please give us an update on the status of the Moderna COVID booster vaccines? And so, Teresa, I think, has probably reached out to CVS 3, 4, 5 times in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks as the Moderna vaccine has been approved and the boosters have. Unfortunately, CVS, although they do have the COVID vaccines, they are not going out to communities like they did back in January, February, and March to provide the Moderna vaccines on site at communities. Now, again, I don't necessarily have a full factual information, but one thing that I've kind of come to assume is that some of the government funding that was on the front end of COVID and getting the vaccinations out allowed for CVS to hire on contract employees. I don't know if that same funding is available to them now that the booster's available. And so when we're asking CVS, they're saying we don't have staff. They're also running a little bit out of the booster shots on a daily basis. So I don't think, that the capacity is necessarily there. And so what I've told a couple of residents, I know Teresa has, and I think what I encouraged in the last memo, was if you're going to your general practice physician or your primary care physician and they offer you the vaccine, please take it. If you're going to CVS, and there is a couple different CVSs around that are carrying the Moderna, you can set an appointment online. If you need some assistance with that, I'm sure reach out to Teresa or myself or somebody to help you out, get an appointment. I'm sure Laura and the team with transportation, if available, can get you to and from, or use the buddy system, so on and so forth, to get that booster vaccine. So at this given time, on this date, I wish I had better information to share about the booster. And bringing that, I know, unfortunately, I know I hedged too hard that I said we would have a clinic. And I know I've said that, and I apologize because I truly did believe that the booster, when it became available, would be in the same echelon or tier as that first COVID vaccine. But that is not the case, and so I shouldn't have hedged my bet, and so I apologize for that. Are there any questions in regards to that, Katie?
I just made an appointment online today, and
Okay.
it isn't that hard,
Okay.
but you need transportation.
Yep. And so what Katie was saying is she made an appointment online, CVS, Walgreens, what?
And, the CVS down here does not have Moderna.
Right, on Downer does not. Farwell?
I'm going to the one on Hampton.
Hampton. CVS on Hampton, so we will need some transportation. Katie said the appointment is pretty easy to make. And I'm assuming, one thing I have seen is bring your vaccination card so that they can add the booster to your vaccination card. So,
And your insurance card.
and your insurance cards, I'm sure.
And the one on Farwell is taking appointments as well.
And Teresa Jenkins, fresh out of the news, the CVS on Farwell is also taking appointments. So again, if you need help with coordinating some transportation, I'm sure we can help you out there to the best of our ability. But again, I encourage you to do that at this given time. Of course, we're keeping our ears to the ground. We're keeping in contact and making the phone calls, trying to be that squeaky wheel, so to speak, for the community, for you, to bring that on site here at East Castle Place. Any other questions? All right, the next individual up is Eric Peterson, and he has a number of different comments and updates as we've had a couple things go on. So Eric, let us get updated.
Thank you, Tyler. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll start with the questions and a few other things I'll add. First was walkway driveway repair for the first week of November. You may have either heard or seen them around the property, but we had Stomper Concrete out here doing some work. Most notable area was the resident sidewalk coming out the front of Historic to the street. Too many cracks in it and unlevel surfaces, so that was time to be repaired. We repaired some sidewalks in the gazebo courtyard, and then we also installed some that were causing a bit of an issue with mud. So we fixed those up, and then we did a surface drive area in the back where a basin was starting to collapse, and we didn't want to wait till winter and watch the rest of it fall in on itself and have a problem with deliveries. So we replaced that as well. So that should be it for the construction. They're just going to let those concrete areas cure for the next couple of days. We did put accelerator in it, so it should only be 3 to 4 days for that concrete to completely cure. And then the only other areas, that sidewalk from the front end Historic to the street, they're going to be coming back next week to backfill the gap between the concrete and the grass with dirt, so that we can plant new grass there next year. Next question, can the gap of the fence on Bradford side near the gazebo be fixed? That has been on my list for a little while here. We've been in contact with Badger Fence, who's the company that removed it, and they're the company that has to put it back because they have it, and I don't. So I've been working with them to get out here. I will be calling to give them a reminder again. Last question we have here is, can the shades on the windows on the east side of the health center rehab area be fixed? Some appear to be broken, others left tilted and angled. It really affects the look of the building. So that is to my understanding, that's the side that would face the contemporary entrance. So I can go through those. I think in most cases it's probably the first and second floor where no one's living right now because the construction is coming up, and so we can straighten those out to look a little bit better. So those are the questions we have here. The only thing I wanted to add is some of you know Nick Otter, who was on the maintenance team. He has transitioned to a new role on third shift and security. So if you don't see Nick, he's still here. He just took a different opportunity within the department. So you'll still see him early, or if you press your pendant, you'll see him promptly. And then in collaboration with Tyler, I can allude to a little bit, I hope, we're also adding another security member to the third shift team. In this capacity, we'll be able to have 2 security persons here each evening so that we can be a bit more flexible to having someone sit at the desk and then someone be able to take care of what you would call like roving responsibilities. You know, the trash was a part of that. You're all over the building, you're checking all the doors, things of that nature. Any questions before I wrap up? Okay, I'll turn it back to you, John.
All right, fantastic, Eric. Thank you for that update. The next individual up is Laura Wengler, who will address what is coming up. A lot is coming up. I'll hedge, I'll give you a little insight, but Laura can provide details to a lot.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we do have a very busy November calendar, if you've seen all the events that are planned for that. Thanks to my committee for a lot of the great ideas, and also to many of you who have shared ideas with me. So first of all, I wanted to recognize our scavenger hunt. I've seen residents around East Castle Place looking for different items and looking for things from our scavenger hunt. We have extended the date to next Friday because there are 25 questions. And it is just a way to get to know East Castle Place and some of those historic things you might not know about, as well as some of these hidden gems around East Castle Place as well. So there's 25 questions. We're not expecting everyone to get all 25, but we are going to have the winners posted on, well, actually what we decided is we're going to have the winners recognized at the State of the Castle meeting in November, because we have some special prizes for them. Also, in regards to the scavenger hunt, we will have the answers posted in the elevators, as well as on the bulletin board, so you can see the answers to these interesting places and things that you're to find. A couple of things in the month of November, since some people were asking for what is going on in November as reminders. Tom Stanfield will be here on Veterans Day for a special music program at 1 o'clock. We also have a Veterans Continental Breakfast that morning at 10 o'clock. We have a service of remembrance on Wednesday, November 19th at 2 o'clock in Lindsay Hall. The art workshop that some of you have been asking about is going to be in regards to aromatherapy and some candle making as gifts for family. That's going to be on Thursday, November 18th and Friday, November 19th. And that is with our student artist and resident, Ellie Spalding. Carolyn Wainer will be back to do a program specifically to Thanksgiving and giving thanks on Wednesday, November 24th in Lindsay Hall. So you don't want to miss that. And finally, some of you have been asking, or many of you have been asking about Christmas at the Castle. Christmas at the Castle will be on December 5th. It's going to be a little bit different this year. We're planning some different things for the 5th. There will be some things leading up to Christmas at the Castle, and information will be forthcoming, so you can have all the information about that. Our Castle Choir concert is Thursday, December 16th at 4 o'clock. That's going to be in Lindsay Hall, of course. And we're planning our holiday party in December, as well as our New Year's Eve party. So I'll have more information on that at the State of the Castle in November, at the end of November. I did also want to mention there was a concern that was brought about the buses as far as the bumpiness of the rides. And I mean, of course our city streets, some of them are not the best as far as potholes go. But there was a concern and a talk about could we purchase a new bus? We don't have that right now budgeted for. We certainly can have something done. We talked about taking the bus in for something to work with their shocks or their struts, or something that we can do to kind of smooth down the ride for all of you. So we'll be taking care of that with both buses sometime in the next couple months, so you can notice a difference in the ride, which we're hoping. Are there any other questions for me?
Yeah.
Yes, Carol.
On November 19th, 2 p.m., I think Dr. Lang will speak again on DNR, and I'll have forms available for applying for the DNR bracelet.
Excellent. Did you all hear that? Okay, very good. Thank you for the reminder, Carol.
Okay.
Other questions? All right. With that, I'll pass it back over to Tyler.
All right, thank you, Laura. The first topic, and first I need to say thank you. Thank you for being flexible, because the State of the Castle was supposed to be last week. And so in the month of October, for the month of October, here we are, November 4th. And so unfortunately, my little guy had to stay home from daycare. And mom was in Alabama, and turns out he's not ready to be on his own, so I had to stay home. So I appreciate everybody's understanding and flexibility with that for the reschedule. COVID-19 update is, again, another good update to provide you. And that is that we do not have any resident cases nor employee cases at this time. And so again, COVID is still prevalent. We are not turning our back and saying, thank God that's in the rearview mirror. But again, from a community standpoint, you are doing your part. And if you feel a certain way or not quite right, you're letting Teresa know so she can follow up with you. And you're also, we have residents saying, you know what, I came in close contact with somebody that did test positive for COVID. And we were able to get them tested. And you also are taking your part. So again, the big first step was getting your vaccination. And again, I think a secondary part to that is now our staff members. The third part is making sure now our guests and visitors are also in that regard, although we are not necessarily disallowing visitors and guests from not coming to the community if they are not vaccinated. But again, that is the ultimate protection. Continue to wear your face masks as you feel comfortable. And again, if you are not feeling well for any reason, please do let the front desk and Teresa Jenkins know so that we can just keep on top of that and track accordingly. The next individual I'm very excited to introduce, to give you all a brief break, and she will join me here at the front and give you a little update. So Majarka will introduce herself, and she provided a little bit of a slide. So Majarka.
Thank you. Hello. I am very excited to be here and meet all of you as well. Please give me some patience with learning all of your names. Besides learning the building, there's a lot of you to learn as well. So I promise I'll learn it eventually. Here's just a little glimpse into my life. I have 2 children. They're over there on the left. That is my daughter Madison. She is a senior at Carroll College. She is studying physical therapy. So she's excited to graduate this year. She's going to go on for her master's in exercise physiology, if I got that correct. And then she's excited to become a real person. On the other side is my son Keegan. He is 20. He is taking a year off from school right now. He graduated in 2020, and COVID kind of affected him hard. You know, he went to school one day and came home and never went back. So he kind of lost his whole routine. He's taken a few technical college classes, but he doesn't know what he wants to do with life. I don't think we want to know what we want to do with life yet. The other pictures are my nieces and nephews. They're a joy to have. I enjoy spending time with them. And the picture there in the middle is my favorite place to be. That is taken from our family's cabin that my great-grandpa built about 60 years ago. It's only owned by my mom's family. So me and my kids spend a week up there every year. We go up on the weekends to visit my parents and some other family members. It's on Tuttle Lake, which is near Watoma. It's this tiny little cute lake, and it's a wonderful place to be. So that's a little bit about me. Oh, one other thing. Everybody's been asking about my name. So my name is actually made up. There is no origin for any of it. My dad's name is Mark, and my mom's name is Jana, and she put them together and got Majarka. So that's just a little bit about me. I am excited to be here and learn and improve the hospitality program where we can.
Do you want to share a little bit about your background?
Oh, absolutely. So I originally went to college for marketing, but throughout high school and college, I worked in hospitality. I loved it that I never left. So I recently come from about 15 years in resort management. I worked at the Osthoff in Elkhart Lake, and it's very similar to this community, but you guys get to live here. And at the Osthoff, you have different people checking in every day. So there's a lot of similarities when it comes to the dining room, the room deliveries, things like that. So I'm excited to add healthcare to my resume.
Fantastic. Are there any questions for Majarka?
Yes.
I have a question because we're really new here. So what does hospitality cover when you say?
I'm very new here too. I think I'm gonna let Tyler help answer that. And then, I know what I'm responsible for, but there's still a lot I'm learning. So I want him to give you the right answer.
So Majarka will be overseeing the food and beverage program. And so what that entails for you, first and foremost, obviously, is your soon-to-be lunch as well as dinner dining experience, as well as the special events that go on throughout the year. She will also provide support and oversight to the healthcare operations. So obviously, she will work with the team of Executive Chef Tim, Kathleen, Mary, Art, Steph, and the whole gamut of your servers that take care of you each and every night. She's a part of the director team, so leadership of the community, and so she will also be helping out here and there on the weekends as part of our director on call schedule. But ultimately, Majarka is responsible for the direction and vision of our food and beverage program for the entirety of the community. Does that answer your question, Ms. Silver? You're welcome. All right, resident question: why is PS Salon leaving? Will the new service have the same pricing? So, a huge special thank you to Maureen for helping me out with the salon. So, PS Salon was here for 3 years. And I'll share with you some of the resident satisfaction survey questions that are forthcoming. But PS Salon averaged a 63 in 2019, and this year they were a 62. Individuals have not been overly pleased with PS Salon's service across the community, and so that's where I knew a change was necessary. I think after 3 years, there was plenty of opportunities and things of that nature to move the salon services forward. So about 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, I engaged with Mirror Salon in conversations to take over the management and salon operations here in East Castle Place. I had the fortunate experience to work with Mirror Salon actually in Phoenix, Arizona, where they still provide salon management services for a community there called Sagewood, as well as up at Newcastle Place. I work closely with them, and they still provide the salon services there. In all, they provide senior living salon management services for over 50 salons across the nation. They're not nearly as large as PS Salon, but the resources they have and really the local presence is really where they specialize in to a degree. So we have, beginning November 10th, so next week, Tuesday, I believe that is, PS Salon's last day is tomorrow. And so then they will be doing a transition because those salons are licensed by the state. PS Salon will remove their items, Mirror Salon will move their items in. And so we look forward to Mirror Salon starting. And so the salon hours are going to be every Tuesday from 9 to 4 in the contemporary salons. The pricing menu is available, and the prices did not change. They did not go up in any case. If they did, they went down. And they have everything from the men's and women's haircuts and everything you may need, as well as kind of an introduction. I believe I prepared kind of an introductory letter about 3 weeks ago or so to kind of give you an idea of who the salon is. But there's also biographies. And so Chris Richter will be the salon manager. She actually also does cutting and styling and is a registered beautician with over 35 years of experience. And so, again, she is the director. She works out of the Chicagoland area, but is up at Newcastle Place quite a bit. And then the other person who I have not met is Isabel Wozniak. I guess she goes by Izzy, according to her bio, with over 35 years of experience in the industry. She has graduated of Eric of Norway with the salon cosmetology service there, and has a wonderful biography. So, with that being said, the reason for the salon transitions is just for both of our sakes. And again, I'll take ownership. It's a partnership, and so again, I'm sure there's some things that I could have done, East Castle could have done, maybe slightly differently to maybe improve those salon services, but ultimately I thought a fresh start for you as residents as well as the salon experience that I want you all to have moving forward was necessary for the change. So that's why the salon has changed or will be changing as of November 5th. Hopefully that answers that question. Is there any questions regarding the salon? All right. Question, and I need to circle back with Eric. What should I be doing with my green food containers? It seems that no one is still picking them up from outside of my unit. So I will circle back with Eric and make sure that we do a better job again in the nights and evenings. That generally is when those are picked up, to set them outside your door. And then in the morning, if housekeeping team or somebody sees them as well, they'll pick them up. So again, it's just paying attention to those details. But again, those green food containers that we had used, again, are reusable. If you have them in your cabinets or your home, we would like those back, if possible, so that we can wash them, sanitize them, and put them back and reuse. Excuse me. As part of some of our green initiative here at East Castle Place. And then the question about what's happened in the regular menus for lunch, dinner, bistro that were in the mailroom. And so again, I know that the dinner menus are in the mailroom. But when I looked, the lunch and bistro menus were not. So I'm going to circle back with Majarka and Tim and make sure that we get those in there consistently. The other plan is soon look for some communication as to when we will be opening up the dining room for lunch. And also hopefully opening up that bistro for more of that grab and go type that you had before COVID. It's been some time since we had the bistro open. So I hope that answers the questions. You should see those menus here shortly. I know that the dinner menus are put out, again, usually every Thursday or Friday for the next week. For lunch, you are welcome to order lunch and get that delivered or picked up, and we'll go from there. All right. The next piece that I wanted to present was the resident satisfaction survey. So this is always a great opportunity for feedback from you. And again, transparently, I want you to know how you feel about the community and what your neighbors said and how East Castle Place rated. And I'd like to look back at comparisons from 2019 to 2021. We do these every year. And so I'm going to give you a very high-level summary, and at the end, I'm going to invite you to do a little bit deeper dive with me over a cup of coffee at 2 other dates, because we definitely will not get into the 46-page report and the 26 pages of comments. I do have a sampling of those comments, but I picked out kind of the high-level questions, as well as some of those areas that specifically relate to all of our departments. First, wanted to share with you, the community response rate was 91%, so we had 84 total surveys that were responded to. Again, this survey is a third party. Sensite is the survey, a company that we've used since 2015. And so we have a lot of data. This is what they do. They specialize in senior living and survey management. So again, they're very pleased. Anything over 80% they're pretty pleased with. And so again, thank you for submitting your feedback for us to know how you're feeling, what we can do to improve. Overall rating, it was interesting, 88%. It didn't go up, it did not go down. And so this year, and specifically comparatively to LCS and other communities, was interesting. Because obviously we know what happened last year, right? We really shut down activities. We really weren't operating as what I would consider a normal senior living community of, full of all those activities. And it was for your safety. And I think we all understood that, but we're back. And so we weren't sure what the impact was going to have. And so to stay at 88%, I felt good about. I'm always looking for improvement, but again, 88% I will take. This was really interesting. We're very satisfied with East Castle Place as a place to live, up to 93%. We were at an 88% last year, or 2 years ago. So this to me means, okay, we've improved. We've greatly improved that. Would recommend East Castle Place to friends and family is up 1%. Again, it's an improvement. You are our best referral sources. You are our best friends for neighbors, for instance. And again, if you enjoy living here and you would recommend East Castle Place to your family and friends to move in, that's very important to us. And then I feel at home at East Castle Place was down 6%, 83%. And I guess I took this as, I think I heard as a couple, interesting. But I also looked to maybe some residents had only lived here for 4 to 6 months or less than a year, or they moved in during COVID. Yeah. And so they didn't really get to feel that this, truly was where they saw their home. And I think looking back in 2019, the different residents that we had, obviously we had more surveys as well. We had over 100 surveys last year, or the last time we did this. And I look back and we had some residents that had lived here for 10, 12, 7+ years. And so, again, I think by that point, you haven't figured out this is your home, you're not going anywhere. And so again, but it was interesting. And so again, that's kind of how I looked at that. And again, I want you, just so I'm clear, I want 100% of you to feel like this is your home and that you feel at home at East Castle Place, and that's why you're here. Extraordinary impressions. This is one area that I think sets the tone for East Castle Place. It sets the experience, it sets the culture, it sets the expectation for how we deliver the service and really what should set us apart from other communities. 87% satisfaction rate, that was down slightly. It was 88% 2019. But one area, and I apologize, I didn't do percentages on this one, team members greeted me in a warm and friendly manner. 100% said yes, absolutely, all the time. What's incredible is that over 80 people of that responded, and all of you put 10s. That's what the 100% means. So again, I credit that to our front desk, our director team, and your housekeeping, maintenance, servers, the whole gamut. I mean, that really says something about our community. Team members respect you for privacy at 99%. Again, I think that's something that you should feel comfortable in knowing that when you tell a Teresa or you tell a staff member something that is a little bit more private to you, that we do care for that. Obviously, we're going to use that information too to make sure you're safe and secure. And so if you say, well, I've fallen 8 times, we may do something with that information and not keep that so private because we want to help you. But at the same time, know that the information you share with us is confidential in nature and that it will only be used for your safety and security. And then team members maintain high levels of professionalism. This was another area that we did improve quite a bit on. And I'm very, very pleased with that because, again, that's part of our brand. It's part of what you should come to expect is a very professional nature individuals. Of course, that like to have fun and create that warm hospitality culture. But at the same time, there is a reason that we are in uniform. That Jen has a closet full of uniforms to make sure our staff are branded and wearing the appropriate uniform and that we look the part, so to speak. So some areas of improvement, right? Because again, I'm sharing all good. If we just had the good stuff and that's all we focused on, I wouldn't learn anything and the team wouldn't have anything to strive for. So we have to improve, right? Team members anticipate my needs, team members pay close attention to details, and these two are very closely related. These are our 2 lowest scores, a 68 and a 65. And so again, anticipating needs is something that we talk about in our new hire orientation every single time. And again, I think it's part of that is just part of being comfortable in knowing the community first and foremost, but also some of those simpler things of, I always pick on the food and beverage department, but if I offer a cup of coffee, should I be offering cream and sugar? And if that's not, am I really anticipating your needs? So again, it's a very simple detail, and I know that all of our servers are fantastic and do that, but again, what can we do better to anticipate your needs? And again, that's where this is going to be a continued conversation throughout the years and in these smaller discussions. And then team members pay close attention to details that are important to me. Again, details, we can get lost in them. There are a million details that we could do a much better job at. Everything from making sure that the trash is consistently taken out at that front door, all the way to picking up that piece of paper that's been on the floor for the last, 3 days. Trust me, it doesn't take a housekeeper to pick up a piece of paper. It takes me, it takes all the staff to have that attention to detail. The things that are important to me, that gets a little bit even more granular, because again, we can make some assumptions in what may be important to you, but ultimately, we have to ask the question of what is important to you, right? In order to truly understand how we can improve that. So again, are we working with the resident council as well as all of you to help improve these scores from a hospitality standpoint? Resident engagement is another one that I really wanted to focus on, and I know Laura and I spoke at length about this in 2019. And this score did raise about 8 points. And so I was pleased about that, but 80, I still want to see better. I still think we can do better as a community in making sure you feel that you are engaged. And so again, you see the scores there, and it's, the lowest one was my community helps me maintain all aspects of my well-being. Well-being has so many different definitions, and it's so personal. But what can we do? What can we offer? How do we get you as residents engaged in the different programs and the fall prevention programs and different seminars and different amazing lectures that should help maintain that mind, body, spirit? And so again, we'll be looking at that and focusing on the 8 dimensions of wellness. Our community helps me live life with a purpose. Again, purposeful life living is very important. And so we want to make sure we're providing avenues where you have those opportunities. I think Mike and the Treasure Chest volunteer group has done an incredible job in improving that. Because again, it's you take that opportunity to volunteer, and so volunteerism, I think, is an avenue that maybe helps with that. Again, maybe I'm completely off track, and maybe I'm making too many assumptions, but that's where I need your input, and Laura needs your input, and Teresa and all the director team and leadership team need that input so that we can help focus and help you with the engagement that you feel in the community. So any thoughts there? Any comments? All right, we'll just keep going. Yes. Oh, Mr. Wood.
I think one of the programs that has recently started is seminar on justice. And that's exactly what I think we should be looking at to keep our minds engaged from an educational standpoint. It looks to be an incredible program, and I think more of those, and to my knowledge, that's the only program along those lines that's currently available. And so I would encourage many more of those.
Fantastic. That is the feedback. And so if you weren't able to catch all of that, we have an incredible, I think, lecture on justice that's led by Shirley Stone and Kathy Johnson, and Kathy Johnson. And again, it's through Harvard, correct? If I'm not mistaken. And so I also took a course in Harvard, just 1 week course, so I wanted to sneak that in there. But no, the lecture series that Shirley and Kathy and that you residents are taking in and enjoying, to Mr. Witter's point, said we need to do more of that. And, I think that helps keep our minds sharp. And so it's what other resources are out there. I mean, again, Shirley and Kathy, and what can we do with Osher? At UW Lab, and how do we engage them? In using our student artist and resident, Ellie Spalding, in some of the lectures and different things she's doing. So I love that comment, and I think very well noted. All right, so improvement plan, right? We have improvement plans, and anything under a score of 80 gets an improvement plan. And then the directors and I all sit down individually to go through the departmental scores in kind of focused areas, and I've had the opportunity to already sit down with Eric and a few other directors to kind of start walking through that. But again, I think kind of the plan I put in place I feel like a voice of my community is we need to continue to engage our resident council. I think the resident council has done a fantastic job in making sure they're talking about the concerns and issues at hand, bringing those and discussing and coming up with real solutions. I think director roundtables are something we need to kind of reinstall maybe once every 6 months. Just to say, you know what, come in, get to know Majarka, and get to know, Laura and Teresa and what's going on. Coffees with Tyler will continue, but I'm going to continue to bring along a director so that you can feel that, if there's a concern that you have in the community, that your voice is heard. And then again, resident questions that are responded to in the state of the castle. So Maureen has kind of been volunteering to take notes, and so the notes will appear on the back side of your agendas for the next meeting, so that, for instance, when that resident said, hey, that gazebo needs to be fixed, and Eric's fixed that gazebo, we can put that in the back of this and say, you have been heard, and it's been closed out. And so again, those types of things that we're going to do to make sure that you know that, again, it's that circle of communication and closing that loop that I think sometimes, and I put myself in this category of 100%, I don't do a good enough job. We may do the task, or we may have a plan for when the task is done. Well, we don't go back and say, hey, Mr. Fry, we got your work order. We will have that on the docket. It's going to be about a week because we're missing a part, whatnot, and we'll be back to you. Sometimes we put in a work order and it sits for a week, 2, 3, and did it get lost? What happened? And it's just because, things were in process, but the communication wasn't there, so your voice may not feel like it's been heard. And so, again, working with the director team to help in that spirit of making sure we're closing those loops. So then we had comments. We had over 20-ish pages of comments. And so I just kind of put together a sprinkling of them. Music and activities. I don't have to cook a variety of food. That's great. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things for me. The grounds are beautiful. I put that one up there because I think we took a step. Eric, Dustin, and Jesus really took on landscaping this year. And I think they did a really nice job in making sure our grounds were beautiful. And I think also with fall cleanup and things of that nature, because again, that used to all be contracted out. And so now to be able to bring that in-house and to grow somebody who has a passion for that was really, really neat and really cool to see reflected in the positive comments. Location. This comment's always brought up, right? That's why a number of you have lived at East Castle Place or chose to live at East Castle Place because of the proximity to Downer and the proximity to everything that is right at your fingertips. The friendly and supportive atmosphere, both staff and other residents. I put some of the longer comments so that if you put them in, know that I did read them and that you get credit for them. Because a lot of them were a little bit shorter. So ECP is our community, our family. We know each other's names and identity. We show mutual interest and care. If we wish, staff calls us by our first name and we show personal interest in them. We try to encourage and include other residents. There are no exclusive groups. And then East Castle is a forever home for seniors looking for independent, assisted, skilled nursing or memory care. It's a wonderful, well-chosen staff with ability to meet the mental, physical, and spiritual needs for these seniors in a beautiful setting. The friendliness and caring among residents. Again, I think that was a theme that definitely carried forward from 2019 and was seen in all of the comments in 2021. And then lastly, safety and security, and Eric mentioned it. I think that there's an avenue that we can improve upon. That score was about a 70. Actually, I take that back. 70 or 80. I'll define that. But safety and security, again, that's one of the primary reasons why you chose to live at East Castle Place, and that's why we've invested more into our overnight security. That's why we're in the process of putting up a gate. We've poured the concrete pad. We have the electrical in. Now we need the physical gate to get off the boat to get here, because that's been the big issue. But again, we know that, unfortunately, the east side has been ravished with car break-ins and stolen cars. That's something that I know, again, fortunately, it happens outside the walls. But it doesn't help to know that, you know, my loved one's car is on the parking lot, isn't gonna be there in the morning. And again, if it's anything but a Kia and a Hyundai, it's got a pretty strong chance. But at the same time, I want you to know that you are safe and secure here in East Castle Place. And then you have the improvement comments, and I have to share these with you because again, this is really where the learning comes in for me and really for the director team and directions we go. So transparent communications that are timely and invite genuine resident input into decisions that directly affect their life at East Castle Place. I kind of labeled that underneath communications, right? That's something that, again, I try to make sure you're up to date on different things and operations and know that you aren't responsible for the operations, but at the same time, there's that fine line that sometimes we run into, well, they ask for my opinion, but they still went a different direction. And so that's really where I think I can be a little bit better in the transparency and the communications. More vegetarian entrees on the menu. Again, that's on Majarka's plate as well as Chef Tim's. Security at night, we just talked about it. Safety of the parking lot, attention to closing, lacking all entrances and exits. Again, those rear patios. And then I put this one there. I would like a private meeting space lounge that would serve as a book club meeting, a family birthday party, holding 10 to 20, with a restroom nearby, sink and small fridge, microwave, so on and so forth, tables and chairs. That will get taken care of, but unfortunately, we'll have to figure that out in the interim, but 2023, and we'll talk about it, when the renovations occur, there's a dedicated space for this exact piece on the 4th floor of what will be the new water tower building. So in the interim, I mean, we have the club room, we have Radford Terrace Lounge, we have some different avenues that we can take care of right now, but again, that's part of these renovations. Ms. Crump?
Is it possible to have in the new, when we do the new renovation, to have a real club room where we would have a room for the ping pong table and perhaps
Pool table.
pool table, you know, those are things that I think would
I think I heard that from someone.
be used.
Right.
And there's no place to go with the ping pong table right now.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very satisfactory in the creativity room. And so, you know,
Yeah.
that would be something I think we would really use. A club room really should have those facilities in a place like this.
Sure, and so the comment from Mr. Crump was just, you know, is there going to be a space for that pool table and that ping pong table and that true, I guess, club room type that, you know, is very common. And so I definitely know and we will incorporate some of that into the new renovations and community. And so again, we're still, I don't want to say not closely to defining those spaces, but again, I think there's still room to manipulate where and how we utilize those spaces. So those comments are definitely what we need as we go forward and really finalize the plan. So yes, I guess short answer is yes, we should be able to accomplish exactly to your point. It may not be this large grandioso club room that has everything in one space, but at the same time, I think we can definitely incorporate the ping pong table or the pool table or both. Maybe it just might be in a different location for the pool table and for the ping pong table, just because, you know, you need some room to stretch out and play billiards and all that. So, but last one was the updated decor, the uncomfortable furniture. Again, that's where, you know, we need to know what is uncomfortable and what you feel is outdated, and know that some of that will change. But with the outdated decor and uncomfortable furniture, I'm assuming it's more interiorly. And so again, with the renovations and things, and again, I don't want to say everything is waiting till the renovations. There's definitely some things we can do now, but just let us know. Stop down by my office and we can have a chat. So again, those were some really good comments, and again, next steps are just what I said, meeting with the director team, putting together improvement plans, implementing those and sharing those throughout the year with you, so that we can know kind of the steps we've taken And to be honest, ahead of the survey, I should have shared with you some of the action steps that we took from 2019, implemented, and are now part of our normal process. So you can hear that your voice was heard. But again, that's more on me. So, and again, a copy of the full presentation. This presentation, as well as the full survey, will be available in the library. So you can read all those comments, see all those department scores and things of that nature. Again, the director team will be sharing that with all the staff members as well in January, and they'll get a quick summary, much like what I provided you. Now, if you want to learn more about some of those details, stop by the Bradford Terrace Thursday, November 11th for some coffee, 10 a.m. to 11. That is in place of Coffee with Tyler. We'll probably still talk about whatever you feel is necessary. And then Wednesday, November 24th, from 1 to 2, again, the Bradford Terrace. These are not on the calendars because I did not share this with Laura before I put this together last night. So these will be on the weeklies. Again, thank you. Just really appreciate all the input that you provided. I know we're coming up on time, so I just want to really quickly go through this with you and give you an update on the renovations that where we're at. So again, just as a reminder, our partners, LCS Development, AG Architects, CG Schmidt, RDG Design. We have priority members. We have 34 priority members that have given a deposit and said we are very interested in the new expansion, the new apartments. We'll be moving into what we call conversions here at the end of this month, where we'll be asking for a 10% deposit on the entrance fee of that future apartment. Obviously, there's a lot of more layouts and renderings that are in the final stages that will be shared with you, but this will start happening November 29th. And so that's really kind of the next big milestone for us to move this project forward. Approvals are another big hurdle, and I'm happy to say that we've cleared all of the approvals necessary to move this project forward from the 3 city agencies in the Historic Preservation Committee, the Common Council, and then obviously the Common Council forwarded on to the General City Council. The final happened November 2nd, and so we do have a fully approved project. If and when we're able to get our financing for the project, which we have engaged our finance broker in Piper Sandler to help us with the financing for the project. And then, of course, the final drawings. We're through what they call design development drawings. We're on construction design. This is where it gets very granular, the HVAC, the different heating and cooling systems, where the outlets are, so on and so forth. RDG is going to be on site. RDG is our interior designer. They're going to be on site November 15th and 16th. And I really want to pay, the 15th is going to be pretty much a full day with staff, getting their input, finalizing selections, so on and so forth. On the 16th in the afternoon, they want to provide an update to you. There was a smaller group of residents that kind of helped guide some of the decisions and some of the today's traditional decisions, so to speak. And so they'll be coming back to make sure that that vision, they're still on track. And I can share with you, and what I've seen from the initial renderings, I think you're going to be very, very pleased. It is completely different than what is on the website currently, that very modern look. Again, that today's traditional, that we're really focusing on our history, that warmth, that feel of East Castle Place is something we cannot lose through this project. I'm also not going to say 100% are going to be in agreement with me or with RDG, but we're going to do our best to put our best foot forward. And I'm happy to report the construction is still on target for April 1st. I'm not going to say a shovel in the ground, I've said a sledgehammer in the wall. So again, April, beginning of April is that tentative time frame. And lastly, you probably saw some work being done on the front entrances. Front lobby entrance, you see the signs, CG Schmidt is actually doing the work for us. And so CG Schmidt, they're completing 2 welcome centers. And so we have moved the meditation room and help with Pastor, as well as a few of your fellow neighbors, to put this meditation room on the 2nd floor of the Contemporary building, across from the Contemporary Salon, the general store, and if you're up that way, stop by Mike Reber. I think he's got chocolate. But the meditation room will be available beginning November 15th. We're just putting kind of the final touches and things of that nature in that room. But the spaces in the welcome centers, that'll be now the Welcome Center 1 and Welcome Center 2, we'll probably name them better than that. That's why they don't pay me to be a marketer. They will be finished and furnished by next week. So it was a very quick turn. I was very pleased. Carpeting should go in either tomorrow or Monday, and then the furniture arrives on Wednesday. Then the marketing team will have their final touches and ancillary touches, and then we'll be able to have those open. Again, those will be dedicated for these for marketing appointments, as well as there will be a dedicated room that if we need a quick private meeting or something, we'll be able to pop in there. So again, those are also will give us the first feel of what the new space may look like. So again, it's pretty exciting to see the initial construction. What questions, if any, does anyone have?
I just feel bad that I didn't bring it up with Eric here, but the receptacle rooms are so badly in need of attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if, when the hallways are clean, someone could just get in there.
Sure. So and I'll make a note of this with a pen that I don't have, that Katie Phelps is gonna give me. Thank you so much. Come prepared, they said. About the receptacles, and so you're speaking specifically about the trash rooms, as I know them. They need some love, meaning primarily cleaning.
Well, the floors need washing.
The floors need washing, and then I know that over the winter months, as we've gotten caught up, there's some I'll call preventative maintenance or preventative paint that also needs to be touched up throughout the entire common areas as well. That's on the to-do list. So I think I also know that those are slated for some because they get pretty beat up. But just start with the initial cleaning, and that's a great start. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What other questions? Ms. Hill.
This is more a comment than a question from the food committee yesterday. Chef Tim has mentioned that supply is erratic and we should cut a little slack in the dining room when there have to be menu changes.
Thank you, Barbara. Barbara brought up a great point. I'm sure you've all seen the news. The supply chains are a little in disarray still, and unfortunately look to continue well past the holidays. And so Chef Tim and Majarka, as well as LCS, who have a general account with Cisco, who is our main purveyor, have been working diligently and closely with this. But there are things that we are aware of when they don't arrive. So we order them, they say they're in stock, the truck comes, and then we say, where's our food? And they say, yeah, it's not in the truck. We'll get it next time. We have almost had close to half of our order not show up. The last truck, and they let us know about 8 hours in advance. So there was some quick thinking in order to do that, and a special thanks to Laura and the transportation team. We've been going to Restaurant Depot to help, Sendex to help out. But again, I would second what Mrs. Hill said there in patience and understanding. A lot of it's out of our control. The cartons of milk that you always grab at your continental breakfast. Those were supposed to be on the truck 2 trucks ago. We still haven't received those. We went down to Restaurant Depot. They had 1 gallon of milk in their refrigerator, and we are the dairy state. I figured we'd have some whole. But the cartons of milk are few and far between. And again, the priorities are going to be for our healthcare areas, and we're fortunate to be underneath that umbrella. But there is some patience and understanding that I am hopeful we will have with our team. And again, we see it also on the maintenance side and getting parts, and especially refrigerators. Refrigerators are 30 to 45 weeks out right now, if you can believe that in some cases. So, I mean, again, we have some on back orders, so to speak, and that are operational, but they're not the brand new, because the brand new are again 25 to 30 weeks out in some cases. So It's a real problem. And so we are working closely with LCS and our main provider. We just signed on to US Foods as a secondary backup source for us that we've never had to use before. And so again, it's in hand, and it's hitting everything. It's hitting the smallwares, the disposables, you name it. It's tough. So and then when we get it, sometimes the quality isn't there either. And so again, we do expect quality from the products, but at the same time, I'm going to trust Majarka and Tim and the team to say, you know what, I'm not going to put this in front of the residents. We're going a different direction. And so again, that obviously is sometimes told to you by the servers. And so again, your patience and understanding there. The other thing is with your points, there will be something that I'm going to be walking the resident council through in the next week. I do ask you to be mindful when you are trying to utilize all of your points to not order 6 tenderloins at the end on a Friday because that does impact the tenderloins you get to enjoy. So same thing with the cases of wine and cases of beer. Again, that's not the intended purposes for the points. The intended purpose of the points is to provide you flexibility to eat and dine in the dining room, provide at least one meal a day, not for you to do your grocery shopping. The same thing, and this is just a small note, some residents are continuing to grab 3, 4, or 5 muffins as well as do their grocery shopping of fruit and their milk in the morning, and that's making things run out. And again, that's not helping your fellow neighbors, so I just ask you to help kind of hold each other accountable if you're seeing that. Again, East Castle Place, it was not intended to be your grocery store. We went to Metro Market yesterday. I think we go to a grocery store every week. But those cartons of milk and bunches of bananas are for everyone. And so I just ask and remind you to be mindful of that. Kitty?
With the new point system, when is that going to start? Because that would solve some of the problems.
It started November 1st.
Oh, okay.
So again, some of that we will, and again, I've worked with the resident council, and I actually gave it to the food and beverage committee for first look at it. And there's a couple things. We defined what a meal was. We kind of put a cap on how we can use those points. I'll share with you, I limited it to 30 points in a day that you can use outside of a meal, and 100 points per week. So again, this is really confusing. I probably should have gotten into this. It's a lot more easy to see on paper, but Katie, I see a little confusion they put on your face.
Obviously I didn't read something. I didn't know it started November 1st. My turnaround is always the 15th.
Oh, I'm sorry. So in general, November 1st. So if you're November 15th, that's when it begins. So on and so forth. So I apologize. Thank you for that clarification. So if you're, I think it's A through E. Sure, we'll go with E. You would be on the 1st, and then so on and so forth, and your meal points start on your next rotation in November.
Okay, so November, I chose to have
400. So you would still see your discount, but on November 15th, you'll have 400 points to use from November 15th to December 15th.
I'm glad I asked the question.
So yes, thank you. And I can add clarity to that as well, because this first month is going to be a little confusing. I've already talked with Majarka. We're going to hold kind of a food and beverage once you get your first bill type of scenario, so you don't have to just call Judy and Brad and say, hey, my bill's messed up. We want to help curtail some of that because I know there's a little confusion. So we'll be holding some food and beverage meetings just for general questions and answers and clarity. So again, working closely with the resident council on that, but also with you. Yes, sure.
I want to know how you find out your starting date.
Your starting date, we can pull that for you. So what we'll do is we can post the general groups. So I think it's A through E, and then my alphabet falls off, but you'll be in S through whatever it may be. Yeah.
I missed that.
Okay, so yeah, we can clarify that. You're in a group based on the last letter of the start of your name. All right, any other questions? Styrofoam. Yeah, we are trying to get away from styrofoam. A little bit of that has to do with supply chain. Again, we are working towards that green product that we previously had. Majarka, myself, and Tim actually have a meeting with our representative from Cisco and really our entire food and beverage portfolio next week, where we'll touch on that. So, we'll be coming. Any other questions? Otherwise, that's another guy. I wasn't sure how this meeting was going to go, so I was just going to put the last picture in here, you know. So, he is, we celebrated his first birthday. I cannot believe it. So, he is now 13 months. It's already a month old. We had a theme of Rookie of the Year, because it was his rookie year. So, we had a baseball theme that my wife prepared, and I tried to help. But, yeah, that's my little guy. He's a lot of fun. He's climbing everything, not quite walking, eating anything and everything in sight, along with my dog, which is an issue. So, yeah, he's a lot of fun, and he's up by Grandpa and Grandma today, so hanging out with them. So that's my little Hunter Grady. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate the time. I appreciate everybody's input to everything, and thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.